Welcome. You're tuned to the Urban Affairs program. It's time to get up for Urban Perspectives with your host, Pete Rhodes.
Welcome. You're watching Urban Perspectives. I'm your host, Pete Rhodes. This edition is sponsored in part by Summit Academy OIC and the Minnesota Timberwolves. On this episode of Urban Perspectives, we'll explore the mind, the body, and the soul. Our guests include the founder of Lions Gym and Wellness Center, the director of the African American Outreach Project for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and the president of the Minnesota Baptist Convention. Take a seat and focus on this special edition of Urban Perspectives. My first guest's mission addresses the stigma of mental health and provides support for organizations to successfully expand their reach into the African American community, minimizing the roadblocks around mental health issues. She is the director of the African American Outreach Project for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the Minnesota chapter. Please welcome Cynthia Fashaw. Cynthia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I mentioned to you that we had the blessing to work on some mental health issues with the county a few years back. I was so delighted that you were available to be here with us to talk about this important issue.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So explain the mission of the NAMI and the African American Outreach Project.
The basic mission is to get into the community, a community that historically doesn't deal well with mental health issues and mental wellness, and provide education, support, so that people can be as well as they're capable of being. There's a lot of stigma that keeps people from talking about or dealing with mental health issues, and so my goal is to get in the community and to seek wellness for the entire community.
That's great. So how destructive is the stigma of mental health problems in our community?
It's very destructive. Nationwide, 1 in 4 adults in any given year lives with a mental health condition, 1 in 5 children, right? Okay. And so upwards of 80% of those people who live with a mental health condition do not receive treatment. That's huge. That's huge, yeah. Add to that in our community the things that contribute to having a mental health issue: poverty, incarceration, foster care. All of those things put us at a greater risk for having a mental health issue. So stigma comes in where a community as a whole has a negative value about mental health. When we talk about mental health is really a condition, a health condition that affects thinking, moods, and behavior. I see. Right? Yep. And so it means it has the ability to affect your whole life, how you learn, how you do at school, your relationships. So having good mental health is so important. But the stigma of having a mental illness prevents people from getting treatment, from talking about it, from telling their doctor about it, from doing the things that could really improve their lives.
Now, you folks there at NAMI have a lot of programs that help with these problems, so to speak. What are some of those?
Well, we have a number of them. I'm going to start with the children's programs because I also direct the children's programs at NAMI's. We actually have a training that we've developed for African American parents called Children's Challenging Behaviors. I see, yeah. And it's actually a 6-hour training that we walk through parents. How do you know if your child has a problem? Is what you're seeing just a typical challenging children's behavior?
Terrible twos, or
oh my goodness, or is it something that you need to look further into? So then once you hear that, where do you go? What do you do? And what happens from there? And so it goes through all of that. But the important part about this is that we deal with the issues of special education. Who's eligible? How do you get it? What is your role as a parent in determining what kind of services that your child gets? So many African American children are put in, or actually have overrepresented in EBD classrooms in schools. And parents don't realize that they have the final say about where their child is placed.
So that kind of helps.
So this is absolutely, so this Children's Challenging Behaviors. In the community, so many people get their mental health services through the criminal or juvenile justice system.
Okay.
When in fact what they really need is some mental health assistance. And so we have a couple of booklets. This one happens to be for juveniles in the juvenile justice system who are experiencing mental health issues. And it really gives you good information about how to proceed, what to expect, and what your rights are and what you can do.
Now, how does one get a hold of these books, and how has the project helped to expand, you think, in your...
Well, I go out in the community weekly. I'll go anywhere and speak for free.
Okay.
Our booklets are free. Not only do you have to wait for me to bring them for you, you can go to our website, www.namihelps.org, and download them for free as well. All of our trainings are free, and so I every other week go out into the community, and especially work in communities where there are men and women coming out of the criminal justice system, and parents.
Yeah. Real quickly here, how do we start that conversation? What one advice in the 10 seconds we have would you say to start the conversation about mental health?
To start the conversation, we're going to have to shift how we think about it. Mental illnesses are illnesses whose symptoms are behaviors. So we need to get past the idea that they're due to bad parenting, lack of faith, that they're willful, and start the conversation by realizing they're a medical issue, not a choice.
Cynthia, this is an important subject, and I would encourage individuals to visit the website, urbanperspectives.tv, so they can get more information on you. And thank you so much, Cynthia Fashaw, for being here. According to our next guest, our body is a temple. Having better knowledge about it is fundamental to staying healthy and injury-free. Learn how to look good and feel good through fitness training with Stephen Menya. Next on Urban Perspectives.
You're watching BMA Networks.
This is Pete Rhodes introducing 7 Steakhouse Sushi Ultra Lounge Sky Bar, bringing you 3 levels and 3 destinations for dining and entertainment. At 7 Steakhouse Sushi Ultra Lounge Sky Bar, you'll find quality in their foods, elegance in the decor, and excellence in the service. Make the next outing an event at 7 Steakhouse Sushi Ultra Lounge Sky Bar. More than a restaurant, it's an experience. Welcome back to Urban Perspectives. Our next guest is the founder of Lions Gym and Wellness Center. He's a practicing chiropractor and personal trainer, and he's a nutritionist as well, whose goal is to promote purposeful, disciplined, and efficient training methods to make you feel good and look great. Please welcome Dr. Stephen Menya. How you doing, Stephen?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I had such a great time coming over to your location over in Robbinsdale.
Yes.
And it is just fantastic. The facilities are just super, man.
Well, thank you, brother.
Tell us about how you decided to start Lions Gym and Wellness Center.
Well, I started on the basis of someone telling me that I cannot do it. My vision was to get a forum where I can have exercise, I can have orthopedics, I can have wellness all in one bunch, having come from Kenya.
Yeah.
So that was the important vision. And when someone told me I cannot do that, 20 years ago, to this date, I've been working on building that vision, and today I can say it's a dream come true for me.
Yeah,
so
well,
blessings of God. You know.
Great job. Now, you said there's a thin line between encouragement and discouragement in fitness training. So what is the approach that you do for efficient training?
Well, number one, our bodies are made of opposite muscles, one that makes you for and one that makes you against. A lot of time when I say thin difference of encouragement and discouragement, when one of those muscles is unbalanced or is out of balance, then you get discouraged because you cannot move against that muscle. So the encouragement that I'm talking about is make sure that they balance the two. As soon as you stop balancing the two, one overrides the other, then you get discouraged because you get like cramps or an injury can happen. So that's the encouragement that you need to know, is make sure that the for muscle and the against muscle. For example, a flexion versus an extension. If one of those takes one off balance, you hurt the other. And someone can spiritually or physically get discouraged to continue.
I see. Now, how important is nutrition is the diet with physical training? I often see these commercials on TV.
Yeah.
You get on this machine and you just perfect in 2 weeks. But how important is the diet with all of that?
Well, number one, diet, or food as we call it, is the source of energy. It's like a car. If you have no gas in it, there's no moving.
Okay.
So all I'm saying with this is that your diet is important because it comes from within. What we see is just what we see, but chemically there has to be a lot of balance inside. So calorie source, which is your intake of food, is very important. Now, even to lose weight, the output has to be more than the input, and that's where the diet is important. So if you are mechanically supported with the food that you're eating, carbohydrates, balanced fat, and protein, that's where the diet becomes important.
So you offer a lot of programs over there. Talk to us about some of the services that are offered at Lions Gym and Wellness Center.
Well, I will start from the ground up. Number one is fitness. Without the fitness part of it, or the concept of it, I would not be here today. Like I told you, when I started the fitness, I qualified for some of the Olympic Games back in '96 when I was just a little boy. But after qualifying for that, we decided to take the program even further, get progenies of people who are wanting to be professional athletes. And also, in the services that we offer nutrition. We decided to even take that further. And now we do sports and rehab in my facility, because out of fitness, trying to achieve fitness, you can get hurt. And now as a provider and as a doctor in there, I am taking care of patients. I mean, it's a big dream for me. So I'm very, very happy about that.
You know, you also train some of the Vikings,
yes,
I understand, too. We see the photos of you training some of the defensive backs, and you were out there for a while with them?
Matter of fact, I'd like to say the day that I had the defensive back in my facility, we almost made the Super Bowl. That's how good we are at the Lions Gym. But yes, it's anybody can come in there, because matter of fact, now my next vision is to have the little kids. We want to have some lion cubs, or that concept of having kids coming in there, because my community is lacking on physical fitness for the young ones, for the little ones.
Yeah, that's true. So what advice, you know, people will try they may start at home first. Would you give someone, do you have a tip or two that you would say just to get you started before you come over to Lions Gym and Wellness Center?
Well, I'm in a point in my life where I can tell you, number one, make sure you get a clearance from your physician, because you might have a disability or you might have an injury that requires attention first before you just jump into an exercise. But your body itself is a machine. Your body itself is like a gym. So find out, and now there's a lot of Google information that you can find out to help you with exercise you can do at home. But walking is a perfect, easy, cheap example of exercise. Sleeping is important, because all of us have to rest once we tear down the body. Therapy bands. Get some of these things at home, easy 5-pound dumbbells, and then after that, don't forget to stretch either.
Well, hey, I've just learned a bunch of stuff sitting right here with Stephen Menya from Lions Gym and Wellness Center. And thank you so much for being here, man. And I plan to, visit your gym a little bit more often.
Yeah, I'd like to just plug the lionsgym.com, get some more information from us.
Well, they'll watch and go to that website and do great things for them, I'm sure, when they get there.
All right, thank you so much.
Stephen. Yeah. Stay right where you are, because here on Urban Perspectives, we present shining stars, highlighting people, places, and events that contribute to the vibrancy of the urban community. Our shining star this week is St. Paul native who is sought after for product and fashion photography. He is a co-creator of Dandy's Project, highlighting African-American men and fashion. Here's a look through the lens of Chris McDuffie.
My name is Chris McDuffie. I am originally from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm a photographer who specializes in commercial and editorial work. I've always been kind of an artsy-fartsy kid, so it was always drawing or painting or working with clay, and this is kind of a natural extension of that for me. Really, I can trace it back to college. At the time, I was doing sneaker customization, painting shoes, and I needed to take pictures of the shoes, and it kind of developed from there. I'm always open to help out photographers. I'm always giving out advice on equipment or moving people's careers along. I'm always open to give out information on things. For me, I'm always looking for the next thing. So I've been shooting for a little over 8 years now, had a business for 4 years, and the thing that gets me up every morning is what's next. It's the next project, it's the excitement of what's going to be tomorrow. Photographers who had an impression or left an impression on me, one being a big one was Gordon Parks. I really liked that he did a lot of work up here in the Twin Cities. The fact that I can look up to somebody who did that level of work on such a grand scale, that will forever be inspiring to me. I do have a personal project that I am trying to wrap up called People Minneapolis. All of 2013, I photographed a number of different folks around town, put it together into a little book, and I'm trying to push that out into the universe. Robin Robinson was one of the first people who kind of allowed me to photograph her for the project. I reached out to Robin. She obviously said, yes, I'm very interested. Come to my place. I think for me, what makes this special is this is Robin in her place of work and home. This is her studio in Northeast Minneapolis. It was very casual, very relaxed. We went in, we shot. Yeah, that's kind of how Robin is. It's kind of laid back, easy to work with. I'm Chris McDuffie. I'm a photographer, and you're watching Urban Perspectives.
Coming up is the president of the Minnesota Baptist Convention and pastor of Greater Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, my church. His motto is, we're all one in spirit and we are better together. Pastor Billy G. Russell is next here on Urban Perspectives.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay, but remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Start a new career in only 20 weeks. Summit Academy will train you in healthcare or construction with no out-of-pocket cost to you and no loans to pay back. Now offering night and weekend classes in healthcare. Call 612-377-0150 today.
My experience at Summit Academy was amazing. The instructors are awesome. You will get everything that you need.
Become a Summit Academy graduate in just 20 weeks. Night and weekend classes in healthcare too. Summit Academy, 612-377-0150.
Every time, but when you need them, where the cops at? I'm sending lyrical shots back.
My next guest hails from a large, important, talented family of 6 girls and 5 boys. He is a former principal who has a Bachelor of Science and a Master's degree in education. He is the pastor of Greater Friendship Missionary Baptist Church and president of the Minnesota Baptist Convention. Please welcome my pastor and yours, Pastor Billy G. Russell, to Urban Perspectives. How you doing, Pastor Russell?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
You know, this program is about mind, body, and soul, and so I want to talk about the spirituality that is important in all of those efforts that we as individuals take to be better people. So, how important is the spiritual connection to the well-being of an individual, you think?
Well, you know, when I first thought about that question, I was like, how long do I have? Because, it's a very deep question, very broad question, but the takeaway is this, that it is very important, it is most important to have that spiritual connection, our relationship with God. Our relationship with God is what really grounds us. It transforms us. It's what renews us daily. It's that relationship with God that gives us our reason for hope, our reason for joy, our reason for peace, and even our reason for self-control. It's our relationship with God.
How do you make a stronger connection? We talked off camera a little bit about that, and I know the answer now, I think, but how do you do that?
Well, Greater Friendship knows, and all of the churches where I preach, they know that I'm a person that believes in prayer, praise, and push-ups. I start my day every day with prayer. I cannot make it without connecting with God on a daily basis, and then praising Him for who He is and what He has done in my life. I believe I was created for praise. I have to do that. And I do my push-ups, but then I do my meditation as well. And then when I start to jog or when I start to get on the treadmill, I got my word that's in my ear. I downloaded it's an NIV translation, a good understanding of the word. And so while I'm running or jogging or whatever, the word is in me 90 minutes a day. And that's how my relationship with Him has increased and gotten stronger. Reading great books and surrounding myself with great people, thinking great thoughts because of what my relationship with Christ.
Now, does it really matter? I mean, some talk about that as being grateful. Does it matter what denomination you are and who your higher power may be in your mind's eye?
Well, you know, I grew up in a community where there was a Baptist church, a Church of God in Christ, and a CME, Methodist church. And I went to all those churches and had a chance to experience each one. And it wasn't any difference that I saw. I was able to meet Christ in all the churches, and therefore that's the way I grew up. That it was just our methods of worship that was somewhat different, but still God was there. And so I believe that at every denomination where God is present, you know, man has done this, made us separated and divided us, but we serve the same God.
So how important is community involvement and outreach to our fellow man to strengthen that spiritual relationship, you think?
Well, you know, at Greater Friendship, we have our vision of winning the world with love. And then we came on to the State Baptist Convention, and our vision is also it is to love God and to love people. So now you cannot say you love God if you don't love people. And when you love people because of your love for Christ, then therefore you have to reach out into the community. We do things like, I mean, giving away free clothes, free food. We work with Cruise City and other organizations inside the city to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the people. You cannot say you love God and you're not interested in meeting the needs of people, every need. So we're there.
So do you think that people are now reaching out more for a spiritual connection than ever before? And if so, why?
I think they are, but I think that as they reach out, I think it's what's called religion, and because of the crisis, people are hurting, people are going through a whole lot of things. They see the world situation, they see the situations of violence and all in the community. I really think people are seeking, but I think what's happening is it's a religious seeking. We're seeking, when I say we're looking for God, and we're looking for Him by trying to do great works and all this kind of stuff, but it's all about, now Christianity is a relationship. It's about relationship with Christ. And having that relationship, you know, you don't have to look for Him. He's right here. He's with us right now. And you find that the more you read about Him, the more you pray to Him, the closer walk you have with Him, the better you are.
The better you are. Now, you're the current president of the Minnesota Baptist Convention. The question I have is, how are you expanding the spiritual connection amongst all denominations as the reigning president and your administration?
Well, we're better together.
Better together.
Better together as church, as community. I feel very strongly about that we must come together, tear down the walls that separate and divide us, because it weakens us when we are divided. So, I mean, we started out when I first got installed last year. We brought Bishop Howe from Shallow Temple International Ministries to do our MLK program. I mean, that was my hand right there, hey.
Yeah.
And then we're working with them, and Bishop Howe, Bishop Washington, Bishop Ref, and his work united. We have
Isaiah.
Yeah, Isaiah. I mean, just making sure that there is nothing that separates us, nothing divides us, because as a state Baptist president, I think it's important that we pull together. And that's why I came up and said, we're better together.
We're better together. What great response, great words, and I thank you so much for being here to impart upon us the importance of spiritual connection.
Thank you.
Pastor Billy G. Russell, thank you so much. And I want to thank you for watching Urban Perspectives and our sponsors, Summit Academy, OIC, and Minnesota Timberwolves, and my guests, Cynthia Fashaw, Stephen Menya, and Pastor Billy G. Russell. And of course, we got to thank our audience out there for getting up with Urban Perspectives and helping make it the #1 show in the morning in the Twin Cities on Sundays. And remember, there are positive things happening in our cities. You can see them right here on Urban Perspectives. Now enjoy the photos of the week featuring the celebration of life at the Cowell Center. I'm Pete Rhodes, and I'll see you next week.